Hello, Aditya. Thank you for joining me today for
Thank you
our
very
Steps to
much.
Success podcast. This podcast is basically to feature people and talk to them about their journeys into their careers and their education. We talk to young and senior professionals about what led them to study and work in the field that they are. And you are our first student being featured on the podcast. So I'm really excited. It is my pleasure to introduce Aditya Balchandani, who is a first year student at the University of Bath. He has just finished his first year at the University of Bath, and he is from previously, he was studying at the Dubai International Academy in here in the UAE, and it is my honor and privilege to speak to him now about his journey so far. I was introduced to Aditya last year when he was submitting his applications, and we have stayed in touch throughout. And now that he's in Dubai, I thought it would be a great opportunity to catch up with him and find out how his journey is going. So, Aditya, welcome back to Dubai.
Thank you. Thank you
How,
very much.
how's it going at the University of Bath?
It's wonderful. I'm enjoying myself, enjoying my first year, and I'm looking forward to the next year. But I'm going to enjoy the time off currently. But yeah, the University of Bath is wonderful.
And what exactly are you studying?
So I'm studying International Management. It's a BSc. It's a 4-year program with a placement year in between, and I've just completed my first year. And yeah.
What led you to apply to international management?
So the curriculum has a very hands-on approach, I would say, as well as the international focus, along with the multidisciplinary subjects that you study over there, that you learn, such as economics, the management, marketing, operations, finance, etc., etc. So it was that aspect which led me to also pursue the international bit of it, especially someone who was born and raised in Dubai, a very cultural, multicultural, diverse town. I wanted to explore that domain a bit further and explore that option with even a placement year in between, which is why I selected it coupled with the placement year.
How is an international management degree different from a regular BSc management?
So it's the certain modules that you have to elect in your second year. The first year is alike for all the subjects in the management domain. The second year, you have to select certain strategic management subjects which have an international focus or with a global focus in a global context, you could say. So that's the difference, as well as the placement year. So the placement year entails you having to work or either study at an exchange university abroad. So not necessarily in the UK, but abroad at any country. Let it be Dubai, for example, Singapore, even New York. I've got friends, seniors of mine that studied or worked at New York. So that's like the primary difference.
And when will you be doing this placement year? In your second year or third year?
So this will be in my third year. So I've got the first 2 years of study, out of which I've completed the first year. I've got one more year, and then the placement year.
Is that something, obviously you haven't done it yet, but what was your motivation for applying for a 4-year program instead of a 3-year program?
So it's the placement year precisely because I wanted to obtain one full year of working experience. I wanted to acquire the knowledge from real world application, you could say, because you learn and you can leverage the knowledge you learn theoretically and apply that practically into the daily world, into the business world, into whatever domain you want to or industry you want to pursue a career in. So it was that motivating factor which led me to studying and then working and then finalizing my studying before fully embarking on my career.
What was your application journey like?
That's a good question. If I had to sum it up in one word, I would say it was laborious, but it was quite engaging and quite fun in the way. I, unlike, I would say, contrary to popular belief, I actually really enjoyed my application process because it was an opportunity for me to really discover my interests further because it got me to think and think about where my interests lie, what I like doing on a daily basis. Because especially because I graduated with the IB diploma program, from the IB diploma program, you have a lot of focus and you tend to be quite focused in that rigorous degree, rigorous program, that you don't get time to truly develop your other skills outside of education, you could say. Sure, there are opportunities, but not as much as what you would expected. So the university application process did allow me to delve into that and permitted me to focus on the other aspects of myself, where I can grow holistically, where I can focus as me as an individual grow as a person rather than only academically. So that was the aspect that I enjoyed the most.
Were you guided through that process at all?
Yes, I was. I was heavily guided and to a wonderful extent by my university counselors, so my high school counselors at for university, as well as an external counselor that I consulted for my entire process, for the applications, for the essays, any interview prep as well. Everything was assisted to me comprehensively.
And I remember we met in April of 2024.
Right.
Tell me about that. What was that or tell our audience about that. What
Right.
was that engagement
Right.
around?
Right. So we, as you precisely mentioned, we met in April, and that was for a University of Warwick admissions representative meet. It was a one-on-one discussion, which was something that I was enticed by because with any other universities, I was not provided with the opportunity to discuss one-on-one with someone from the university admissions team. So that was what drove me towards StEPS to consult you guys because I saw your wonderful advertisement regarding that. And yeah, so University of Warwick was one of my options. And that discussion was something that actually led me to select on University of Bath, not because of anything that was said during the discussion with him, but because I got to answer my queries, clarify any doubts I had regarding my university choices. Because there was one thing I realized is, okay, I received 5 out of 5 offers, which I'm grateful for. But how do I select? What do I select from here? Because I can only pursue one university.
So sometimes it's and again, a lot of the times when people are contacting us, or they think that if they've got another consultant or another counselor that they're working with, then there is no point speaking to StEPS. But as in your case, you did have another counselor, another
Right.
consultant, but coming to StEPS and meeting with university admissions counselors and admission representatives was very useful because it helped you clarify a lot of other questions that perhaps you still had in your mind.
Right.
Also, it's, and something that I always recommend students is it doesn't matter if you're not going to go to that university, still come and meet because what you're going to get may help you with your decisions for other universities. So it is, and of course, a lot of the times, all these universities, when they come to us for individual consultations, they're also going into schools. But the engagement is different. So I believe the University of Warwick came to your school as well.
Right.
So you met them there and you met them with us.
Yes.
So what was the difference in the engagement?
Right. So the variance lies in the sole aspect that you receive one-to-one tailored support, tailored advice. Any queries you may have, sure, you can still get your doubts clarified at high school with let's say a seminar that they're conducting. But again, you're in a group setting, so maybe you're not limited. Maybe you are limited slightly by the amount of questions you could ask. It's also the environment as well. People would want to cultivate that environment where, okay, you'd ask group questions. You can ask singular questions as well, but with a one-on-one session or an engagement with a counselor or admissions representative, you get 60 minutes, 1 hour purely dedicated with them, where it's just you and them, and you can answer anything. You can inquire anything you may have in your mind, any question, regardless if it's academics, extracurriculars, career growth, cost of living. I recall one of the questions that I inquired with Mr. Amarjeet from the University of Warwick was regarding the cost of living, because budgeting was something that was a complete foreign topic to me. And I really appreciate, or I'm grateful that I inquired that question to him, because they provide you with, or they as in the university will provide you with good support. But unless you really ask them and you get that opportunity to ask them, especially one-to-one, that really makes a difference.
What about the extracurricular activities you were engaged with while at school? What were you engaged in? What were you doing outside of your studies? And how have those helped you now at the University of Bath?
Right. So I've always been quite into sports. I've always been someone that's enjoyed sports, playing around competitively. I used to swim as well competitively earlier, play cricket at a high competitive level, and then engaging in several other sports, football, basketball. But more than that, I also really enjoyed taking on leadership positions at high school. So just an example, I was the president for my high school's environment club. It was called DI's Eco Club. And it was there where I had to lead a team of 15 to 20 individuals, and we collaborated together to work on different projects, whether it was tree plantation drives at the school, electricity saving campaigns, whatever it may be. So I've always enjoyed sports and leadership driven opportunities or leadership driven roles where I can truly enhance and hone my skills as an individual and learn from it, because I've realized that whatever you may do academically in your career, professionally, etc., you can learn as an individual, and we're only here for a short amount of time, so that's my focus.
And how do you transfer those learnings now at university?
So it's in a way that's akin to high school, in which there are several clubs and societies over there you can partake in. For example, if your interests lie in the performing arts, there's an entire building or a department dedicated for that. Or if you want to delve into entrepreneurship, for example, they've got funding opportunities, they've got Dragon's Den like competitions, accelerator programs, etc. So I'm engaging heavily into those societies, clubs, in the Bath Indian Society, for example, or for example, in our sports facility. It's called the Sports Training Village. We have a 50-meter Olympic-sized pool where I get to train weekly or bi-weekly or whenever I want to. I can book my session and I can train over there. So it's the facilities and the opportunities that I'm capitalizing on at the university.
What was your biggest surprise, or what was the biggest adjustment that you had to make when you started university?
I'm sure. Okay, the
Was there a surprise? Was anything was there anything that you hadn't expected when you started?
So the aspect of, you probably heard the customary cooking or the culture shock or the weather, the gloomy skies, you could say. But what truly stood out to me and what truly surprised me or astonished me the most was the fact that the amount of freedom you receive over there or anywhere abroad comes with unspoken responsibility. It's the idea that if you don't structure yourself, if you don't structure or create a structure or an organized routine for yourself, you can lose the habits that you've instilled over here, the facets that you wanted to hone while you were at high school or while you were still at the country before you traveled to a foreign country. You necessarily start to not forget it, but you get focused on other aspects, other domains, other aspects in your life, or other elements that take priority, which that's one of the biggest surprises or one of the biggest factors that I had to really focus on and emphasize myself and put my time towards.
Can you
Because
give me a specific example, for example, or an anecdote about, what happened that you had to, where you had to reframe the way you were doing things?
right. So one of like the instances that I faced or encountered was with my academic endeavors. So I realized that with high school, you're handheld quite a lot. There's a lot of support system, and there is a wonderful support system at the University of Bath, especially. But everything is very proactive. You have to do things on your own. You have to ask your own questions. You have to clarify your own doubts. If there's a project coming up and you've got a group project, you're not going to be assigned the group on your own unless the professor has stated so. But you have to be proactive. You have to engage with your students, your fellow peers. You have to build connections with them, relationships with them on your own. All of this is fostered in a very supportive environment, sure, but everything comes down to proactivity. So that was one thing where I realized, okay, I need to be responsible for my actions, for my endeavors that I partake in, which is something that at high school you're guided or you're informed. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but maybe 10 times in advance before a deadline arises or anything like that. Which at university, whether you submit your deadline or submit a project, for example, or you don't, you have to bear the consequences because it's
You're
all
not
about
going to be getting reminders.
absolutely
Yeah.
not. It's all about taking responsibility.
Have there been any challenges in the last year that you'd like to talk about?
Challenges, I would say I don't view them as challenges. I view them as a scope of improvement or
Learning
opportunities.
opportunities,
Right.
yeah.
Learning opportunities precisely. Because I would say that moving abroad, settling down in a foreign country, especially at the prime age of 18, 19, when you're still young, some people even at 17 years old, it really expedites your maturity and expedites how much you learn in life because you become your own emotional support system, you become your own decision maker, problem solver, etc., etc. So it's in that essence where there are a lot of opportunities for you to learn from, grow as an individual, and yeah, like I wouldn't, to answer your question succinctly, there's no challenge, I would say, is just that I learned how to cook, how to take care of myself, enough for survival, how to budget, for example, even with dealing with people, people management. There's a phrase that I go by. I'm in the business of meeting people, and it's all about meeting people and connecting with them because you meet with culturally diverse individuals, people from East, the West, Central, I from the Middle East or from India, Asia. So that's the challenge.
Do you find that you've developed any new skills that you weren't expecting to develop? Something you learned that you didn't really think you weren't planning on learning at university, but you've learned maybe a transferable skill.
Right. I would say my ability to communicate in a way that really connects with the person in front of me. Because when you arrive at university, when you arrive at your freshers week, let's say, the first time you actually encounter other people, everyone's in the same boat as you. So everyone communicates, or at least I found myself communicating with people in a certain way that really connects with them, that creates a profound or a resounding impact on their lives as well as mine. More than them, it's significantly on mine in a way that I can connect with them. I feel like, okay, I'm at home, or I try to cultivate that environment with the other person, make them feel comfortable in this environment. So that's a skill that I always enjoyed talking to people, connecting with people, like my quote goes by. But something that I didn't really see myself developing was actually having to connect with them on a personal level or connect with them in a way that provides them with a warm or an empathetic approach.
Are there any tips that you could give to other students on how to do that?
So,
Maybe some do's or don'ts.
right. So I would say a massive tip, or like one of the best tips I could provide, is just go make friends with as many people as you can. Step out of your comfort zone. Don't remain in there, because the only way you can truly grow is when you step out of your comfort zone. And it's between choosing what you really need to do versus what you want to do right now. You might want to stay in your comfort zone. Let's say I'm close because I'm from ethnically from India, even though I was born and raised here. I'm from India, so I might mingle with Indians more, but stepping outside of your comfort zone to learn about people from the US, people from the UK, people from Europe, learning about their cultures, environments, because that gets you thinking globally. And that's one of the reasons which we discussed earlier, why I wanted to delve into international management, because you really obtain a comprehensive support. So like a comprehensive understanding.
So there's some people who may not be naturally extroverts, and they find it difficult to take that first step to meeting a stranger. What could they say? You walk into a room full of strangers, other students who are possibly also new to the university. How do you strike that first conversation? What are some of the topics that people could bond over, perhaps?
So it could be initially you're not gonna comprehend their mutual, you're not gonna know, excuse me, you're not gonna know at first the mutual topics or the mutual interests you might share. But there are always a certain few questions, like the customary questions you could inquire with someone: where they're from, what course they're studying, where they're residing as well at university, what campus accommodation or what university dorms are they residing in. And from there, you could steer the conversation in a way in which you can then inquire, do you play sports, or what interests, or where do your hobbies lie? It's one of the questions that I love inquiring with new people that I meet, is what do you enjoy doing outside of work, or outside of, let's say our profession is being a student currently. Outside of being a student, what do you enjoy doing? Where do your interests lie? What's truly in your heart that you enjoy spending time and allocating time towards? So it's that aspect where then from there, slowly and gradually, you'll be able to decipher what, or determine what the other person is into. And then you can also understand and comprehend, okay, I might gel with this person. I see eye to eye with this guy, this girl, whatever it may be.
And you find your common ground.
Right. Yes.
What about part-time work? Have you engaged in any part-time work opportunities, paid or unpaid?
So I personally haven't engaged or I didn't engage in any part-time opportunities or part-time jobs, you could say. However, I did in my first semester engage and I partook in a internship, in a remote internship with a London-based venture capital firm. So that was something that was actually provided. It was an opportunity provided by one of the societies on campus at the university. So I was with the Bath Entrepreneurship Society. Through one of their divisions, they provided us with opportunity to connect with startups, with other companies, in which you can learn from, contribute, and grow, and learn from them and grow as an individual. So I did participate in an internship. It was a 6-week internship, which was based in London. But some of my flatmates, in fact, to respond to your question, did partake in and did engage in part-time jobs. They were working at restaurants. They were working at even watch retailers as well. There was a particular shop in Bath that sells luxury high-end watches, Rolexes, Patek Philippe's, etc. So she was working over there because she had a I would say an interest in horology, so she wanted to delve into that further, and she got paid for it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can, people can find things that really interest them and get paid for it,
Correct.
even as
Yes.
students.
Yes.
You're currently doing an internship in Dubai
Right.
as well. So
Right.
tell me about that.
Right. So I'm interning at a private equity and venture capital firm called Gulf Islamic Investments. They're located in Dubai, based out of the heart of Dubai in downtown. And I'm currently interning in their real estate division, real estate private equity division. And it's a wonderful opportunity, very, very enriching, lots to learn from, a lot of exposure. And what they've done uniquely is they have tailored you, or they've partnered up you with a particular buddy. It's like a buddy internship program or buddy scheme, where any inquiries you may have, any work that the buddy might assign you, or anything you want to learn from as an individual, or you want to learn that the company does, or whatever endeavors the company is part of, you can learn from them. And you can obviously branch out to other domains, other divisions. But that aspect has provided me with a lot of learning.
So, Aditya, our Steps to Success podcast also looks at people who have pivoted in their career. So, they may have studied something else in their first degree and now they're doing something completely different. Obviously, you haven't graduated yet, and we don't know where that your career path will take you. But you are interning and you have interned. So, tell me about that. Your degree is international management, but what about the other students who are interning with you? Are they also all international management students?
So, not really. They're not all international management students. For example, a fellow intern friend of mine, he's become a good friend of mine now. He actually is currently still at university, but he's pursuing his undergraduate degree in data science and artificial intelligence. But he's at a private equity and venture capital firm, purely because he wants to delve into the finance fields, and he wants to see whether his interests lie here or still within the STEM fields, within the fields of engineering or science, you could say. So I wouldn't say that these people, the people that actually have to study, they don't actually have to study a business background or business degree, or they don't actually have to pursue an education in finance or in accounting or in economics or whatever it may be. You could have anything as long as you're receptive to learning and you're open and willing to learn. And you've got the aptitude to be able to comprehend topics quickly and assimilate the ideas that you learn at the internship.
And how does that work in terms of being part of the same team as people with very different academic backgrounds to yours? What are the learnings for you and for them?
So you do get to learn. You do get to learn a lot from them, not because they're studying a completely different degree from you, or completely different they're in a completely different subject from you, but purely because they're also human. They're also people like us. They're also people that have had 18, 19, 20, there's someone even 22 years old worth of experience in this life on earth, which they can share, which they can impart on us. So I would say that the idea of being collaborative and having that sense of teamwork, having a particular degree of being able to work as a team, collaborate as a team together, what you study has no bearing on what output you may have or what ideas you may have, because at the end of the day, we're still humans.
What about the way in which maybe people would say a data analytics background or exposure and an engineering background or a management background? Would they all be looking at the same problem in the same manner?
I would say no. I would say there are there are stereotypes for each particular degree, but sure, maybe what you study and the type of subjects that you do engage in at university can shape your thinking or morph your thinking in a certain way. Because say if you're studying something in AI or computer science, you might think in a more natural form. You might think in a way that is really analytical, is really cryptic, you could say. But someone who's more on the management side, the finance side, could think more holistically, could think more from a way that is, or the thought process would be more people driven or more soft skills driven versus the particular or the hard skills that they have, like the latter degree has acquired. So sure, the way that they operate or the way that they think does vary amongst, or their ability to approach a particular issue or a challenge, but no, like as there could be various forms of looking at the same problem, the same issue, or the same situation, and at the end of the day, as long as you can circumvent the situation in your desired format, it's fine.
And obviously, having multiple people looking at a problem from multiple angles actually adds to the solution.
Right.
Because it can actually be solved in a holistic way rather than only from a people-centric
Right.
view or only from a tech view. So there's bound to be a lot of benefit of having people with different academic backgrounds working on the same project together.
Precisely.
How do you think you've evolved over the past year? You did an internship in your first semester, and now you're doing another internship now. So you've had obviously a whole year in between.
Right.
How have you evolved as a person, as a professional, as a student?
I would say that I have evolved and morphed my character in a certain way that I'm an avid reader. I love reading. I love acquiring knowledge from books, and especially there was a book by Sadhguru. He's an Indian yogic and mystic who preaches spirituality and teaches spiritual methods of living life and everything. So in his Inner Engineering, it's called Inner Engineering book, there's a quote that he goes by, which is, reactivity is enslavement, responsibility is enlightenment. So it's a quote, and it's the saying that the more responsibility you choose to exercise into your life and accept into your life, the more power and control will you truly embark into your life, into your endeavors, or whatever you participate in. So it's that aspect that any situation that's thrown at me in life, 1 year ago when I view myself versus right now, currently 2025, is I respond to it as it comes. I deal with situations with a calmer mind in a compendious manner, in which I enjoy, I could say, rather than reacting to the situation, getting affected by it, just taking it as it comes.
Do you also actively make the effort to create situations that will be conducive to your development?
I do.
Taking that responsibility.
Right. I do that. And I would say that rather than creating situations in a way that, okay, I want to seek opportunities to learn from, you could put yourself through ways that you can learn from, maybe by doing. Like I, for example, learn by doing, or learn theoretically, yes, but I want to apply that theoretical knowledge into a practical hands-on approach. So whether that may be via internships, where I have to actually get into the real world and speak to people and actually communicate with them and then hone my soft skills as well as certain hard skills that you develop on the way. So I learn by doing, with internships, or I learn through reading, or even situations where you become receptive mentally, or you start, you could say, vibrating at a certain frequency in which you attract those learnings, you attract the right people in your life, you attract the knowledge and the necessary learnings that will help you or propel you towards the next stage or towards a certain goal that you have in mind, that you've set, etc., etc.
Do you have any piece of advice for students now who are going to be applying to university for next year?
I would say be open, be receptive to whatever opportunities you may have. If you want to apply, if you're uncertain on which country you want to apply, particularly with universities, apply to all of them. Sure, you might have to incur a cost of the application fees, or whatever entrance exam fees they may have, but keep your options open, because only then will you have a basket of universities that you can pick from, or universities that you can delve into in the future. And through opportunities like this, where you be receptive to, okay, you might already have an external counselor, you might already possess a counselor at high school. Also being receptive to opportunities like external counsellors that may provide, or opportunities that say StEPS Education has provided me, for example. So be receptive to learning, be receptive to growing, and just start thinking from a way that, okay, rather than me having to chase something, start attracting it more.
One last piece of advice for students who may want to be engaging with StEPS.
All right.
What have you gained from your engagement with StEPS, and something that would encourage other students to come reach out?
Right. Right. That is actually something that I wanted to extol and commend you for, is you're quite resourceful and extremely approachable. You have a very genial personality in which, from which any student can come in and approach you, inquire anything, and I can see that that's something that you've instilled within your team. So, for someone that's particularly looking at StEPS, I would say that the team is extremely approachable, extremely warm, and you guys have a lot of resources, especially being that you guys are partnered up and you guys are direct affiliates with several high profile or high tier universities in the UK. So that's something that I would advise people to leverage those opportunities, leverage those connections that someone else has formed, and invariably you'll get to learn from it, you'll get to develop that, and you'll also form and forge that connection yourself.
Thank you so much, Aditya. It's
Thank
been
you
such a
very
pleasure
much.
to speak to you and learn so much about your journey. I really look
Thank you.
forward to seeing you again next year when you come back and learn about, what you've gained during your second year and also what your placement options are. So look forward to tracking your journey. Watch this space to watch Aditya's journey through the University of Bath, his engagement with StEPS, and his engagement with his career. And follow us on YouTube, like us on Instagram and Facebook to learn about all the opportunities that we can offer you as well. Thank you.